All right, so good afternoon and thanks for joining us. My name is Prince Morvan and we're here with Reverend Christopher Toh. He is the Secretary General of the Liberia Council of Churches. We are in his office, here at the LCC's office in Monrovia. The time here is exactly 12 minutes after 3 o'clock p.m. That is Liberian time. My name is Prince Morvan. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us from the U.S., from somewhere around the Middle East, the United Kingdom, this is the U.S.-based Focus on Liberia. We're here to discuss on national issues with Reverend Toh. As you may be aware, we are about to end the year 2023. It's important we speak with those who are in the religious area and also that are they are stakeholders when it comes to the governance of Liberia to get their thoughts and also other national issues. We'll be going to transition the first 2 weeks in January. It's also important we talk about that. So Reverend Toh, welcome to this live interview. My name is Prince Moba. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you, Prince. It's a pleasure being on this interview today, and I want to give God the praise for allowing us. Few more days from now will be the end of 2023, and it's so amazing to know that 6 years have come and gone so quick.
I love that 6 years has come and gone so quick. Great. How is LCC? How is Liberia Council of Churches?
Okay, the Council of Churches, they are doing well. We are doing well. And we are working in the open space, trying to make sure that the voices of the people are heard. People are involved with the expression of their thoughts without humiliation, without any intimidation.
Okay.
And so that is what the Council of Churches is trying to make sure also, that witnessing is given priority, and advocacy for the people, advocacy for the change of the life of the people, for transformation of the people is carried out, and then most especially service.
Great.
We have to serve our people no matter what comes. We have to serve God, but we have to serve our people. And the only way you can serve God, and the example of serving God is the example of serving man. Because God said, you cannot see me. How can you say you love me when you don't love your fellow man, when you cannot relate to your fellow man? So we have to love our fellow man before we can even talk about loving God.
Great. So let's talk about your internal challenges, the Liberian Council of Churches. I'm sure there's no organization free of challenges.
Oh, certainly.
I select with you when it comes to challenges. What are places? So now I'm sure you're working with political parties, political actors, people in the civil society, and you come from the Christian background. You come from the church background, rather. What are challenges you faced?
One of the prime challenges that we face is the challenge of how we can mobilize the Church of Liberia to be one. It's a challenge in a sense that a lot of people come from different denominational background, have different discipline in terms of how they can worship God, but for them to come to the understanding that there is a need for us to put away our denominational faith practices and come together under one umbrella and see how we can be able to advocate for our people. That has been some of the challenges that we have. Over the years, we were able to gather additional 4 to 5 membership.
Okay.
A present organization joining the council, but that's not sufficient. In the last General Assembly, we have 4 coming in. We have a lot of applications that have, we have 4 to 5 applications that have come in now. People applying to be members of the council, but that, as I say, also is not sufficient. We were able to revise the Constitution to be able to accommodate a lot of organizations to participate. Now we have 4 types of membership. We have the individual membership, we have the fraternal, we have the associate, and we have the full member. So in those categories, you can fit in any of the category in terms of association, in terms of in terms of collaboration, and those Christian-related institutions that they are Christian institutions. So we call them fraternal. So so those are some of the challenges, and some of the challenges also we have has to do with funding. And that is key in terms of the operations of the council. And we were able to raise up our membership due. Last year, a lot of the members were able to pay the membership due. Some have not paid. And we are trying to encourage people to make sure that we pay the membership due. More importantly, besides the membership due, there's a need for co-funding for the council, wherein we need some philanthropic contributions. We need also funding that comes from not only international partners, because most of the international partners are funding that comes for projects, and those projects are written in stones.
Credit defined.
Credit defined, as you may call it. And so, but we need co-funding that will look at the day-to-day operations of the council, making it more viable, especially looking at also the communication component of the council. That's why we need the co-funding, because the partner may not be able to fund your communication component, 100%. But if we can get some serious co-funding, the Council of Churches can be a group where, the way Liberia people can say, oh, we can hear the Council of Churches, you hear us almost every week. But all these things, as you know, the media is expensive.
It is.
So you need the kind of funding, the logistics to be able to make sure things works. So funding is one of the challenges that we have. The whole issue of how the churches can come together is one of the challenges that we have. And those are things that we're working on gradually. And when we have the funding, it would take care of a lot of the other challenges. But key among those things are what I'm just trying to raise for your attention.
Great. So what is the goal of the LCC? That's one. The key to that question is, since the membership category has been defined into 4, how does one become member of the council? So I first ask, what are you established for?
The council is established for 3 reasons. And the 3 reasons are defined on 3 pillars. And the first pillar is witnessing. So, and the second pillar is advocacy. And the third is service. So the council is established to make sure that we win the country for Christ. We advocate for the voiceless. Our advocacy goes for the voiceless. Advocate for good governance. Advocate for transparency, accountability. The next one is also to provide services, help the government to provide services to our people. So as you know, the church has a lot of institutions, educational institutions. We have health-related institutions. What is not up to the standard, up to speed yet, is the agricultural service, that which the church needs to give more attention to, which is the food security. So that's the last component of the service that we also need to work on. And then there's other service, which is a service that makes the church to be the church, for people to see the church as it is. And that service is sanitation. Okay. So cleanliness is next to godliness. So if we can have a clean environment, a clean city, a clean, we have clean homes and other things like that, eventually we will see that we are getting more closer, closer to God. Where cleanliness is next to godliness. So if we can clean our cities, we can clean our environment, we can clean where we are working, we clean our homes, and we make Liberia a clean place, yes, that component of our service, Another component is the issue of health. Okay, I talked about that already. And then the other aspect of water, to make sure that our people have safe, that will make them healthy. You go most of the hospitals you go down, so typhoid. I came down with typhoid 2 weeks ago. Just a week ago, been taking treatment. So these are the reasons why we are established.
Okay. And I'll ask how some of them may not know how to come close.
So if you want to be a member of the Council of Churches, it's simple. You write a letter of application to the General Secretary. Christopher Wuleto, the first General Secretary, Liberia Council of Churches, 15th Street, Cinco, Gardner's Avenue, Monrovia, 1000 Monrovia, 10 Liberia. You write that letter of application expressing your intention to become a member. And when that letter is written, that letter will be turned over to the membership ecumenical committee of the council. There's a standing committee. And that committee now will do an assessment, along with the secretary will do an assessment of that particular church or that Christian organization that is making the application, to see which category that particular group fits in. Okay. There is an application form that you pay for. It's $25, and then you fill in the form, and then there are requirements that you have, documentation requirements that you have to attach. So looking at, you have to get your article of incorporation. If you have accreditation, there are a lot of things, your business registration, copies of all those things, you attach it for the membership. And if you attach all those things and the assessment is done, the next thing, the name will be presented back to the General Secretary from the committee, and the generalization of that name at the Executive Committee. So the Executive Committee now will receive it and make a decision on it, and either they accept you on probation, or they vote it out. And if you accept it on probation, you'll be on probation until the General Assembly that will endorse your full membership of the council based on the category that we see yourself in. So the category is from 2 counties upward, I think, but 3 counties upward. 3 counties, you have to be from 1 to 3 counties, that is an associate member. No, from 3 counties, not from 1 now. Because if you have one county, if you're in 1 county, you cannot be.
Okay.
Except if you're in 1 county, you can only be an individual member.
Okay.
But to be an associate member, you got to be from 3 counties. So it does not matter how many churches you have, it's your reach, your outreach in the counties. You may have 50 churches in just Monrovia, but you can only become an individual member who will not have a voting right, because your extension is not in the other counties. We're talking about Liberia. We're not talking about Monrovia. We're not talking about Monrovia. So that's the one of the criteria in terms of membership. So after that, then we accept you, but you got to move from stage to stage. Your first stage ought to be an individual associate, and then after associate, and if you are spread out in the counties, then you can become from 5 counties upward, then you can become a full member of the council. And when you become a full member of the council, then you are entitled to run for the presidency, the treasurer, and the general secretary.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, let me answer this question. I always like to ask this question when I have interview with those who come from the religious background. The church remains a moral voice in any society. Liberia is not an exception. How has the council been able to ensure that political actors, those who are politicians, are held, or to some extent listening and take in those pieces of advice that come from the council as it relates to good governance, transparency in government, and government working for the people? What is the relationship between the understanding of government or state actors or politicians and the council? How difficult it is? Is there anything you found difficult over the years?
It depends on the leadership that comes to power. And it's not only the clerical leadership that requires respect. Even the lay person, the least person in the community require or desire respect. So, some of the challenges that we have had over the period has been with some political leaders who, because religious leaders come up with statements from the pulpit, or they speak against the ills of the society. When they see themselves in the picture, they counteract and they try to attack the religious leader. That we have seen over the period. And when the Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm, people just take it as a mere, as a mere scripture. But it's not a mere scripture. You don't insult God's servants that he ordained. You were chosen also to lead. And when you are chosen to lead, the people will talk, but lead in a humble way. Humility is your strength. So what we have experienced is where even some lawmakers insulted our clerical leaders. People from the legislature, people from the executive, and they insult the religious leaders without any remorse or coming to even apologize. But what happened to them? In the end, most of them have lost. They have lost the election. And the next thing is that because some of them were in political appointment from the executive, they also will not be. They will not be there again because the person that's supposed to appoint you, the person has been changed. So you don't just lash out, against people. We're supposed to work together in the community. The church work is there to be able to be that moral check, to always be able to say, is to be said in terms of morality, in terms of speaking against corruption, talking about accountability, is the role of that religious leader to say it. If you want to be able to counter it, approach that religious leader. Don't go in the open and insult them. Okay. You need to approach them in a way that you can have a conversation about it, and then maybe the way in which the religious leader aired that particular statement, maybe it was personal, and then we can be able to say to that particular religious leader also that I think you are very personal, and if you want to speak, you speak, generally, and anybody that see themselves in the picture, see themselves in the picture.
There are others of your colleagues who are in politics, but are also religious leaders. They have their own churches. They preach in churches. Almost everybody comes from churches, and then sometimes they will use a pulpit to attack others or to say things that will sound political in the ears or in the minds of others, and at the end of the day, the largest come on the Council of Churches, even though they are not members of the Council of Churches. How has that affected your working over the years?
We expect that to happen, and I want you to know that it's not something that moves us in a negative direction. We expect that. We know that every church is not a part of the council, and we know that there will be people who will be also used by political actors to even attack the Council of Churches. We are aware of that. What we have been doing over the period is to see how, in working with them and working with government and other state actors, in order to move the country forward. And so that's what we've been doing on, on the other side to make sure that we have a balance. Because yes, they will attack us, but should we attack them? The answer is no. We should not attack them. We should be able to continuously tell them this is what the principles are. These are the core values that we stand for. We have to live up to the core values. These are the principles and the tenets of democracy. We have to live by it. So even if someone called me a corrupt person, should that deter me from speaking against corruption? No. When I know I'm not a corrupt person, I should continue to speak against corruption. So that should not deter me. Yes, they will say it, but what is the truth? The truth will still be revealed. You shall say the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Great. So his name is Reverend Christopher W. He is the Secretary General of the Liberia Council of Churches. My name is Prince. This is Focus on Liberia. So Reverend, let's dive a little bit into national politics. I mean, a few weeks from now, let's say a month or a month from now, we're going to be going through a transition. About a month from now, about 30 days from now, we'll be going to the transfer of power from one democratically elected government to another. That is from the CDC government that led this country for 6 years to the United Party government that will be presided over by Joseph Boakai, the president-elect. In the first place, what is the council's message that you preached over the years in terms of fighting corruption, maybe transparency in governance, and the rule of law? I know you said it before, but for the purpose of the interview, what is the council's message to the government-elect?
I think Ambassador Joseph Norman Boakai is a person of his word over the period. And he's one person who have not diverted. The actuality of what he has said over the period and the way he has lived, the manifestation of that, God has placed it in his hand now.
Okay.
He came to be second in power. Even when he was minister in the government, there are a lot of things you could not do without the approval of the presidency. But now, if he has a heart, and this is why he continues to place it in his hands. So that what he has in his heart and what he has said from his mouth can be applicable. So I believe that not by mere talk, but I believe that Ambassador Joseph Boakai will be that figure that will live up to fighting corruption.
That is what the council expects.
Yes. And I want you to know that, you see, corruption is in many forms. Mm-hmm. People just feel that corruption is stealing money. No, corruption is not only stealing money. If you abuse your office, it's corruption. If you abuse your power, it's corruption. If you live above your income, the question now will be, how come? Then the question of, is he transparent? Is he accountable? So, if we fight corruption, I think in this country, we may not fight it to be 100%, but if Liberia can even get to 70% fighting corruption, this country will change.
You think so?
100%.
And those are anticipations of this council?
Yes. We want to see, there are a lot
of
the issue of impunity.
During the campaign, the council was accused, I monitored that on the radio, of being supporter of the United Party. I'm sure you heard that on the radio. This current government accused the council.
My brother.
Is that why you're speaking the way you're speaking?
No. Let me just say something. even President Weah, when he came to power, he spoke that he was going to fight corruption.
Okay.
And he was going to make sure that human rights are respected. So it's one thing saying it, it's another thing doing it. Over the period for President Weah, what with President Weah's ability to be able to work with the various state actors in the country. I can remember a day where we had an official meeting for the 6 years with the president of Liberia, the church. Even the religion, I can only remember there was one meeting that the president called with the Interreligious Council. I can remember that meeting. From that meeting, there was no other meeting that was held. The next meeting that we had was the issue around COVID. It was because of COVID, and the president called the religious community to say what his position on the health issue was. But the council wrote the president, wrote him for many times, asking for many audiences, but we never got it. Even after inauguration, before inauguration, after inauguration, different intervals, we never got it. So we just want to, say this to the incoming government, that remember that you have the stakeholders, the key stakeholders. You have the faith groups, you have civil society, you have the business community, you have the traditional council, you have the different groupings, the Yanambol, the labor union, all the different groups. Take advantage, meet with your people, hear what they have to say to you. It is better to hear. You don't have to do what they say, but it's better to hear. When you hear from them, it will be a part of a documentation and see how it connects to your plan. Share with them also your plan for this country and ask them for their support so that that plan can be an actuality. But don't act like a boss man.
Is that something that was lacking on the part of this outgoing government?
They was lacking. This outgoing government was acting like boss man.
And you think the incoming government will listen to what you're saying?
And that's why we're saying to them. I said to President Weah that the Council of Churches was his constituency, and he should have taken advantage of it. Listening. Whenever you come to the position, and this goes to even Ambassador Bwaka, one leader that I saw making use of the religious community was President Salif. She made good use of the religious community. I'm saying the religious community. I'm not only talking the Council of Churches. Other churches that are not part of council, the Council of Churches, the Muslim, the different groups. She made use of them. She talked to people. She listened to them. And that's what a leader does. So it's not a matter of whether they voted, you think that Crystal voted for you or not. It's not an issue. You are now president. Act like a president. So to Ambassador Bwaka, it does not matter whether the Muslim people did not vote for you or the Christian people did not vote for you. Liberian voted for you. Deal with Liberians. Engage Liberians. Talk to, not if civil society, if people from the civil or people from CDC, you saw majority of them gang up against you, they say all kinds of evil about you. Now you are the president of Liberia. Talk to all of them. They are your people. So there is strength in your leadership when you engage everybody. When you tell them what you're playing, how to move further, they will, I don't care how they go against you, they will join you to move further. But if you create the divide, they will continue to fight. So when other people even talking about protests, the way in which Ambassador Bwaka will lead the country, will make even the protester to join him.
We'll come to the protesting. So, I mean, when people get into power, things can tie their hands. I mean, Joseph Boakai has consistently said he's not that kind of person. I mean, I don't know whether you followed his interview with the Voice of America in the States, I mean, one day ago, I think 1 or 2 days ago. One of the questions he answered was that he doesn't come to leadership with familyship. There's a difference between familyship, friendship, and managing. That he doesn't care who his relative or family is. What goes against the Liberian people goes against him. Now, the question is, he also talks about auditing the outgoing government. He's going to hire a foreign forensic audit firm to audit the outgoing government that he's going to declare his access the very first day he takes his office. Now, how does the council look at that? Does the council support audit? Or is the council joining other Liberians who saying auditing is the witch hunt? I mean, where do you stand?
I think auditing is one of the best way to move further. You know, there are different kinds of audit. So the people asked Ambassador Boakai, what are the kinds of audit that you will be carrying on? Instead of just making a loose statement, you have institutional audit. You have systemic audit. You have capacity audit. You have also management audit. You have accountability audit. So you have the different kinds of audits. The audit is to check and find out that I gave Crystal this desk to take care of it. Did he manage during the period? Did he vanish it? Did the desk have a broken leg? How did Crystal take care of the desk? At the desk, when he sat down behind the desk, what all did he do? If there were papers on the desk, how did he, work on those papers? So that is all what the audit is about. And so auditing is not witch hunting. If, for example, you went directly and forgot about what the person did in terms of looking at what were some of the achievements the person did, and just went only for the person challenges or weakness, then you witch hunting that person. But you're supposed to be looking at their strength, their weakness, the opportunity they had, whether they make use of that opportunity, and what were the threats that affected them along the way that they did not, that affected them to not make use of the opportunity that they had. So the audit is important. Audit is not witch hunting.
The council support.
We support audits. So the whole issue of auditing is not a bad thing. It's to just ask questions. Yes, Chris, you had a house yesterday. When you came to government after 3 months, you have 5 houses. Can you please tell us how you got the 5 houses? It is possible that Crystal got the 5 houses good manner, but people don't know. And so there will be perception about how he got those 5 houses after 6 months. So then, Crystal says he did not provide that information before. He needed now to provide the information and say, this is how I got those houses. And this was the process I went through. Because the next thing will be like, oh, maybe the mistake you made, you should have informed people about it yesterday. Then the people were now going to have a perception about, about you in terms of the wealth that you accumulated over the period, or whether you are managing somebody's wealth that they don't know, and everyone is just accusing you around the corner. So it's something that audit is not something bad. Audit helps you. It helps you also to be able to provide some truth. Because even when the sanction came on, when the sanction came on, the American people came up with the sanction against Minister McGill, Tweway, and Serena Cephas. I was one of those that said, and the council came up with a statement to say, investigate audit. Because we want to find out. And people from the government were saying they were with. And we think, under the law, these people had the right their character were at stake. It has to do with the whole family life. So you can't just take it and sweep it under the carpet and say to them, resign. It was not good for them. It was good for them. I like the letter that came from Seven Cephas. He called for an order and an investigation. And that, I think, was required. Even the next one that is up. It needs investigation, it needs auditing. So that it has to be proven whether it was right or it was not right.
Is that one of the recommendations of the incoming government?
Yes. That's one of the things. They should go about it, make sure people should not just accuse people. Even if the U.S. government accuse anybody, the facts should come up that yes, maybe it's true. So let us go for the investigation, let the truth come up, and let us see. So when we set those perimeters into place, and we put into place the modus operandi in terms of how to move the country forward, eventually, Liberia will start, as I said to you, Liberia will start moving further. If there's anybody that involved with corruption or have at least act of want to meddle in corruption, they will not even temple. If some of them have bad attitudes, and Ambassador Barker say, oh, come and be a minister in my government, will tell Ambassador Barker, thank you. Because I know there is nothing in our government for me. It better I be in my private sector. You know what I'm saying? It better I do my other things than to get in your government and don't have a cent. Because if I get in government, maybe I need to take some dime that does not belong to me. So, but when you put into place the right thing and you have the right people to work along with you and not fighting for wealth overnight. Because a lot of people see, what they see is what they talk. But what they see sometimes may not be the truth. And so the perception, I just said something to you. During the bicentennial, our organization that support us, the Prayer for the Word, we were working along with them, and so they were supposed to buy a vehicle for the council operation. And so, interestingly, we made all the arrangement with Toyota Garage, Sikamoto, and the vehicle was like in transit. And the vehicle got here at the time the bicentennial, the bicentennial kicked off. So people say, wow, look at the General Secretary, bicentennial is not easy. They make a new car for the bicentennial. That was a perception issue. You know, that
government bought a new car.
Government bought a new car for the bicentennial. And I have one witness who was helping me, who is Bishop Gardner Johnson. Because Bishop Gardner Johnson knew the history because his wife worked to Sakamoto. So he knew that when we were talking about this and that, he told them, when they said, no. When we told them on that car, but a long time I know about it. Even he asked my wife, asked me I told my wife so they can have a good deal and other things like that. So I know about that arrangement. So it is not bicentennial car. So so I was saying to people, no, it's not bicentennial car, but they still could not believe me. But when he said it, then it broke the ice. For some of them that, they know the kind of person that Bishop Gardner Johnson is. He will not bite his tongue against the wrong. And so he was saying the truth. So they back off. But these are things that people will say. So it is possible that you keep into government, and at the same time you keep into government, you had a friend who came your way, and that friend maybe was a millionaire, and decided to do some business with you, and it was just by coincidence. And so that person pumped in some money into you, thinking that because you have some protective shield as a government official, you will help them in the business. And so you went about doing those things. And so eventually it coincided. But the people don't know. And so information needed. That's why the audit is important. And so the information needs to be clear. Because the people say, Crystal never had it. How come over the period he has this. But it's possible that Chris may have had a billionaire friend. At the same time, he came into power.
Great, thank you so much. So let's conclude on this note. So folks, if you're just following us, if you're just joining, this is Focus on Liberia Television. My name is Prince Mowa. We are here at the Liberia Council of Churches Monrovia Office on 15th Street in Singo. I'm in the conversation with Christopher W. Toole. He is the Secretary General to the Council. So Reverend, let's conclude on this note. The CDC has since announced a protest on Inauguration Day. That call was re-emphasized on yesterday by Representative Akara Skri, who is an outgoing representative and also senior official of the CDC government. Her claim is that the CDC will protest to remind the government, of the incoming government of Liberia in the world, of the importance of the establishment of a war crimes court. However, the government has said no one should go in the street to protest, and they are resolute to protest on Inauguration Day. That will be on the 22nd of next month, next January. How does the council look at that?
Thank you very much. You know, there should be a reason why you protest. The council does not go against protest. There should be a reason why people protest. So, and when they come up with a protest, you should give them an open space where they air out, their grievances. And you don't just go to protest because you want to protest, but there should be a presentation of that protest to a sitting government. Now, so who are you going to protest to? The sitting government you are part of? The Honorable Gray is chairman of the executive in the House of Representatives. So, although there will be a new house in sitting, but it is very important that he understand that the first thing, power should be, transferred. When power is transferred, then you will hear the message. You hear the message from the incoming in terms of what they plan to do to move the country forward. Then those are the things that you mark down and the time frame they give, and you use it as a means to be able to come up with protest tomorrow if they are not doing what they said they were going to do. So those are the things that you can be able to catalog. But you just want to protest to remind people? Remind who? There was a protest that the CDC-led government should have make sure that they institute the War Economic Crime Code. The Council of Churches have been also in support of the War Economic Crime Code. So it's not something that is new. We in the civil society, we keep the human rights civil society group and other things, we are all together on this. We want a War and Economic Crime Code. So it's our advocacy for that. So President Bouaka gets into power. Let us hear his message, his inaugural message, and let us hear his first message to the national legislature in terms of what his plans are in moving the country forward. If we don't hear anything about the issue of justice, if we don't hear anything of the issue of human rights and the rule of law, if we don't hear anything about the issue of accountability, of development, then we can start, reminding this government, the incoming government, Bouaka, that these are the things you say in your campaign. These are the things that you say you're going to do. We cannot hear them. What is it happening? We have not even seen this new government, whether there's an agenda they are coming with. We have the agenda from the CDC, the proper agenda. Now we don't know whether this government will move on with the same proper agenda or whether there will be another agenda. So, and those documents has to be crafted, and those are the documents you have to look at in terms of how do you catalog in terms of what we're going to do. But nothing has been done yet. So we appeal to Honorable Akaris Gray
and the CDC
and those of his colleagues in the CDC to please give peace a chance. It is not, we are not even going anywhere yet. Let the government sit. Let us hear from the incoming president. Let us hear the first, listing of cabinet ministers. Let us see who are those that he's bringing into office. And then we will start seeing those things, we will start seeing those people, and people that are questionable. Then we can start raising our voices. We're going to protest because what? They come into power? Or we're going to protest on things that they have been protesting about, and there is no indication whether they will do it or not. So it's something that we got to wait. So they have been advocating about war and economic crime code. They came up with protests on that. The Council of Churches, civil society organization have been also advocating on this. This government has not done it through the 6 years. This government was talking about transitional justice. To have a transitional justice process instead of the TRC report of prosecution. So this is what this government was proposing, a transitional justice process. So let us wait. This government, the CDC government, should have.
And they pray for that for 6 to 12 years.
Listing, they should have listing. If they knew that what the Council of Churches, what the civil society, human rights groups were saying, it had merits in it, they could have met us and say, look, we are hearing what you are saying. There's some merits in it. How can we have a discussion around it? They scorned the civil society groups. They disregarded the religious community voice. They said now they want to bring it to the fore. We are saying, yes, we still stand. We still stand for a war economic crime court. We want justice to be carried out in this country. So it's not because it's of Joseph Walker we're going to relent on it. So any government that comes to power, this is going to be, this what we said, from government onto government, we're still going to follow up on it. And so if this government will not do anything, be assured, come to us as opposition leaders. We will join you in that protest. But for now, leave it as it is and let us watch them for the first 100 days.
Grace, leave it as it is and let us watch them for the first 100 days. So, Reverend Tove, from what I'm getting for you is that the council is supposed to protest, but with this one, the timing and the measures is what they have problem with.
Yeah, it's not the right timing. The government needs to be put into office. We need to watch them and see what they would do. According to President Bouaka, President-elect Bouaka, okay. Yeah, he said some things, and so we are watching. And to see what are these things that he said he would do them. And he said he's a man of his word. He would do it. And I respect him for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much for speaking with me. And just 1 minute, close up. Anything you want to say?
I want to say Merry Christmas and happy and prosperous 2024. I see a new Liberia. 2017, I want to say to you, Prince and the War Allies who are listening to me, what is happening today, God revealed it to me 2017, right after the elections.
What is it?
What is happening today in terms of a transition? I saw it. And so, I don't know how it was going to happen, but I've been praying. I don't know where we're going to fall, but I've been praying. But I saw it. It was very clear. The same concession speech that President Weah gave, he gave that. I don't know who we're going to fall on, but I saw it. And so, God revealed sometime to redeem. And so, he did his best as a president of this country. Although there were some things that he was supposed to do that he did not do. And I think some of the things that he did not do was to be able to to listen to his people, to listen to all the stake actors, and don't listen to other people, because there were people who were telling him to not listen to some people, and that was not good for any leadership. And so we put this in the hands, at the feet of President-elect Walker when he's inaugurated. We want to see whether you will still speak to your people. They are there. They are the people still having the green card, the yellow card, and the red card. They can give you the green card and say go. They can give you the yellow card to warn you, but they can give you the red card to put you out of the field.
Thank you so much for speaking to me.
Thank you.
All right, folks, so thanks for viewing. Thanks for following. My name is Prince. We've been in this conversation with Reverend Christopher W. Toh, the Secretary General of the Liberia Council of Churches. Thanks for following. Bye-bye. Do join us another time for another live broadcast. Thanks so much for being there.